All right. That was a choke job, y'all. That was a choke job. That is not what I expected out of that game. That's a game where the Indiana Pacers controlled the entirety of the first portion of that game, and they still lost, y'all. They still lost. That was a true disappointment for all Pacers fans. You thought the Pacers were going to win that game, and they totally choked. It was a choke job. A choke job. But I do want to focus on a couple things in that game that kind of irritated me. For one, the refs sucked. The refs are horrible in that game, and there are too many stoppages of play in these finals games. Too many stoppages of play. Shout out to everybody who's joining the stream. What's up, y'all? That was a choke job. It really was. And there was way too many stoppages of play for a finals game. And it almost felt like early on in this game, it was fixed because you had a good flow going on in this game. And the moment the OKC Thunder were going on a run, that was the time where they were calling so many fouls. There were so many push-offs. There were just so many things that they were calling that really weren't fouls. Like, you got to allow them to play. If you're not going to allow these players to play, then what's the point of allowing them to play for the majority of the first half of the game or the majority of the first two games in the series? Like, you allow them to play for a vast majority of this series, a vast majority of this game. And then some part in the second quarter, they were like, you know what? I'm going to just call every single foul. And shout out to Jay Dovey in the chat. He said, your recaps are always on point. Shout out to you, man. And you know what I think is on point? I think this person who made this screenshot, and I don't know if I can pull it up for you guys, but there was a screenshot of Stephen A. Smith. And he was playing solitaire during the game. I don't know if I can get it up for you guys now, but that was on point. He was playing solitaire during the game. These people that always have these crazy takes about these games, they don't actually watch basketball. I think that's on point. But back to my point, I think that there was way too many stoppages of play for a finals game, because how are you going to call foul on every single touch? It doesn't make any sense. Not every touch is a foul. And let's see what Phyllis said. Scott Foster won the game. Yes, he did. And Scott Foster has been a shady ref for a lot of years now. A whole lot of years. I don't get why he's still refereeing at the highest level of basketball at this point in a finals game. We already know this man is sensitive. He's emotional. You remember when he got into it with Chris Paul? This man's an emotional person. Yes, he did win the game. And you saw him at the end of the game when those guys were getting chirpy. I think it was J-Dub, and I think you might have saw Obi Toppin. At the very end of the game, they were trying to inbound the ball. And you saw Scott Foster go up to those players and start talking to them in the last couple seconds of the game. That is just ridiculous, in my opinion. Like, you're just doing too much. You're too emotional. You're too a part of these games. You are technically controlling the outcome of the game in a more direct way than refs really should. I don't like that from Scott Foster, and I don't like the amount of fouls that were called in this game. That's just my opinion. I think there were way too many fouls called in this game, but I do want to go ahead and give it to SGA because he cooked in this one. SGA did cook in this one. Besides all the foul calls, besides how many fouls they gave him at the end of the game, he showed up. He hit big time shots in the last 2 minutes of that fourth quarter, and he actually did something. Up until this point in the series, up until the 2 minute point in this game, I had not thought SGA had been anywhere near an MVP in the series. And yes, a lot of those points he had down the stretch in this game, they did come from fouls, but he did hit a 3-point shot. He hit a mid-range shot. And those two plays kind of shifted the tide for the OKC Thunder and got them back into the game. So I have to give it to SGA. I thought Halliburton was big time in this game, and I think he had a lot of great plays going down to the rim. So I have to give it to Halliburton as well in this game. But one thing I did not like from the Indiana Pacers was down the stretch, they were rushing a whole lot of shots. They were just rushing shots. Down the stretch, you saw them continuously not be able to get efficient buckets. And I have to kind of look at Rick Carlisle, as great as he's been, and I have to say he should have called timeout. This was kind of his fault, because if you're not going to call timeout at the end of that game where your team is looking that bad under 1 minute and 30 seconds, and I know this is a rallying type of team, and Rick Carlisle, he has to kind of be like Steve Kerr, because, Steve Kerr would always let the Golden State Warriors just play at the end of the games. And so Rick Carlisle has to do that as well. But it just was looking bad that last 1 minute and 30 seconds of this game. You would have liked it if he would have called timeout. Let's see what JW had to say. More games equals more money. Is it rigged? Refs are fixers. That is a theory. There's a lot of people betting a lot of money on these games these days. So I don't know, man. But yes, more games does equal more money, and there were a lot of questionable calls in this game. So yes, you could say this game was fixed, and I'm not going to bat an eye. I'm going to say, hey, it's a valid opinion. But once again, I do think they should have called timeout at the end of this game, because if you're not going to call timeout, then what are we doing here? Like, why are we here at the biggest stage of basketball? We're up 3-1. We're trying to go up, or we're up 2-1. We're trying to go up 3-1. We're trying to totally take home court advantage. You don't want the game to be 2-2 going back to OKC. That would be horrible, but that's where we are right here. And I think they were a little too lenient at the end of the game. You just saw the OKC Thunder like pick up their intensity late in the game. And as uncharacteristic as it is for the Indiana Pacers, they dropped their intensity late in this game. They got a little bit too comfortable. It seemed like they felt like they were in the driver's seat of this game. And then later on, you never see that shift of them like, getting hungry again, getting desperate again. You just continuously saw them go downhill. Rick Carlisle doesn't call a timeout down the stretch. And we also have to talk about the missed free throws from Ben Mathurin, because he had an amazing game last game. Game 3 was amazing for him, and he was pretty good in this game as well. But the 3 missed free throws in a row is ridiculous. Like, there was a point in this game where it was a 4-point game with just a few seconds left, and that 4-point game could have been a 1-point game if he would have just made 3 of those free throws. You can't miss free throws down the stretch if you want to win a finals game. That's just the case. And let's see what JM had to say. I think they lost a series tonight. 10-point lead in the fourth and all these bad turnovers. You might have a point. And this is what I'm going to say. I'm not going to say the series is over, but you're going back to OKC. And this was a game where, if I'm not mistaken, and let me get this up on the screen for you guys. Let me go ahead and get this up on the screen for you guys. This is a game where the OKC Thunder, they won 111-104, and I actually don't have it here, so I'm going to have to look it up for you guys. But I think they only had 3 threes in this game, y'all. I think they only had 3 threes. That is a laughably bad performance from the OKC Thunder. Yes, they had 3 threes in this game. If you lose a game to a team in which they have 3 threes and you expect to go on to win that series, I'm just saying, like, you just cut yourself short. You just slighted yourself. That's what I'm trying to say, because that's a game you should have won. And it's almost like game 1 where OKC totally controlled the game, and then you saw Indiana come and take it from them. Now you got the same effect going on. You should have won this game. Everything was leading towards the win. You had the control of this game, and then you just give it all up at the end there. You just let it all go all at once. That is not what you want to see, man. And let's see what you guys had to say. Pam said a handhold foul on the Pacers on an inbound play. Ref, let them play. I have to agree, because that play was crazy to me. Because every single game, if you ever watched NBA basketball before, on those inbound plays at the end of the game, there's always holding. It never, like, every single game, you always see holding. There's always holding there. And so that was a crazy foul. And I just think they were way too strict with these foul calls in this game. They were just way too strict. Like, there are some fouls in which the commentators got kind of mad about it, and I was like, you know what, that was a foul. But for the vast majority of those fouls down the stretch in this game, they should not have been fouls. I'm going to go ahead and say it. They should not have been fouls, because it gets to a certain point where it's like, you officiated a certain way for the entire series. You even officiated a certain way for the first 5 to 10 minutes of the first quarter. And then just randomly you have a code switch where you're like, you know what, we're going to officiate totally differently. I do not like that. And let's see what caller had to say. But the corrupt refs were giving BS calls against the Pacers, the same they would do tomorrow against CC, which I'm not watching. I'm not watching rigged games anymore. I'm done with the Pacers and Indiana. That is an interesting take there. I'm not going to go that far, but I do think there is a certain, taste of rigness that we see in these games. But, you don't really have any proof of the rigness at this point in time. Maybe in, years to come, we'll see that some of these games were rigged, like we've seen with refs in the past. But as for right now, I won't go that far as to say it was rigged. And I'll have to say SGA showed up once again. He did show up. And this was a game where, even though you saw a whole lot of fouls being called, you saw the refs definitely play a hand in the game by shifting the momentum that the Indiana Pacers have. I will say they gave it up at the end. Y'all. The Indiana Pacers choked. I have it in the title for a reason. 4 missed free throws at the end. And you just saw the offense lose its flavor. It lost its flair down at the stretch. In that 1 minute, 30-second stretch at the end of the game, they should have called timeout because they let it go. There was that one play where they were trying to get something going. I think it was probably maybe 48 seconds left. Sorry, I lost my voice there. Probably not even 48 seconds left. I would say probably 1 minute and 10 seconds left till 48 seconds left, somewhere in that range. And there's a play where Halliburton's trying to get something going. He's looking to get a 3 and he can't get one off, and then they end up passing it. They basically burnt out the whole shot clock on that play trying to get a shot up. And it was bad basketball. You got to be better than that if you're the Indiana Pacers. You cannot allow the other team to just play harder than you at the end of the game. You're at home and you don't want to allow OKC to go home. OKC is probably going to win that game at home, and you might be looking at a 3-2 series deficit. You might. OKC has the momentum of this series now, even though Indiana won 2 straight games. Or really, they didn't win 2 straight games. Well, it seemed like they won 2 straight games, but they didn't. Won the first game, lost the second one, won the third game. So you were up 2-1. You definitely had the momentum, especially with that first game. You had the series in your hand. And now the momentum, all that is taken away from you. Is 2-2. You're going back to OKC. Now look like you're going to win this series, but let's see what you guys are saying. Fingers crossed Fever can pull it out with CC's return. Yeah, I think they're going to pull that one off. That's going to be a good game with CC coming back, and you got Sophie Cunningham. Don't forget about her. 17 points in the fourth, not good. Yeah, not good at all. Not good at all. 17 points in the fourth. It was horrible down the stretch, man. It was horrible down the stretch. And Halliburton, he was playing pretty well. You would have wanted to see more shots going to Siakam in the mid-range, but he just wasn't able to get open. And I think there was a certain point in this game where I was thinking, you know what? You should have brought TJ McConnell back in. There was a certain point in this game where I was like, I don't know who you're going to bench. I don't know who you're going to sit down, but TJ McConnell, his flair would have really helped in like the final 3 minutes of this game. It really would have. The moment you saw the OKC Thunder tie it up, that would have been a good time to bring in TJ McConnell. I'm going to go ahead and say that. So, yeah, I just think TJ McConnell could have been good to bring in late in this game because 17 points in the fourth, and then you got TJ McConnell, a great guy, spark plug off the bench you could have brought in. And someone said it, but there are points of emphasis, agreed upon fouls they're going to focus on. They selectively shift that at very suspect times in the games. Yes, very suspect times. You see so many fouls calls. And the Pacers, they went up 10 points. I think it was like 86-76 late in the third quarter, I think, of this game. The Pacers were up 10 points. And you saw right after that, I think there were like 4 whistles in a row, and then it's a 2-point game. Literally. Like, you were up 10, and there's like 4 whistles in a row, and then you've got like a 2 or 4-point game. That is not what you want to see as a basketball fan. Matthew said, I'm here 17 hours early for Carter to talk about Caitlin's return and dominant win. Oh, yeah. You know what, man? We are going to get to a little bit of Caitlin Clark here. Yeah, it's going to be a great win. But once we finish talking about the NBA Finals, because that's what we're talking about here first. But we are going to talk a little bit about that before we end off this stream for sure. Caller said, tomorrow the corrupt refs will send Stewie 25 times to the field goal line, BS fouls on CC, AB, and Hole. You might be right, caller. You might be right. They might do that. But Caitlin Clark is going to have a say in that whole fiasco. I promise. The higher ups do not want the Pacers to win the championship. No, they've already made all of their promo for the OKC Thunder to win this series. Everybody kind of expected OKC to win it because OKC is the better team. OKC is in fact the better team. At least going into this. So we expected OKC to win. Everybody kind of has bets on OKC to win. All the shares are in favor of OKC to win. So it's going to be a series where I can't say if it's going to be rigged or not. I don't know if it has been rigged. I don't know if Scott Foster is rigging it. It sure seems like some of those plays were rigged, but definitely, they want the Pacers to win the chip. Babathy, what's up, Austin? Pacers can't win when Mathurin goes 1 for 4 from the free throw line in the fourth, as well as 89% free throw shooter. Of course. Yes, you can't win that game if you go 1 for 4 from the free throw line. Mathurin choked. He was the reason I think they lost it because there was a point, and I went over it a second ago, in this game where Mathurin, I think he was, or I think the Indiana Pacers, it was a 4-point game. And those 3 free throws mattered because if he would have made them, it would have been a 1-point game. He would have been in a whole nother position. And let's see what Ronald had to say. Sad to say, I think the game was vital for the Pacers to win. I think the series is over. It always feels like that every time you have a loss like this where the game is just taken away from you. But I will not say the series is over. I know people are going to go ahead and say that because you're going back to OKC. I don't think so. I think the Pacers played exceptionally well in this game. And you also have to think about it from this perspective. Even though you have to think about it from the perspective of the Pacers losing, you have to think about it from the perspective of the Indiana or the OKC Thunder having to win this game. They came into it desperate. They had to win. If OKC lost this game, the series is over for them. So this is a game, if you're the Indiana Pacers, where you kind of have to expect to lose in a sense. Like, and obviously you want to win it. I'm not saying that this is, okay by any stretch of the imagination. You need to win this game. But once again, this is a game where OKC had to win it and just to extend the series. So it was a desperate win for the OKC Thunder, not so much as it was a desperate win for the Pacers. Like, the Pacers didn't have to win this game. You still go back to OKC. You've already proven that you can win in OKC. It was a hard win. It was a win you probably shouldn't have had, but you can win in OKC. So I don't think the series is over. I do think it's going to go 7, but the momentum of this series has definitely been shifted. That is just something you have to acknowledge as a stand-up basketball fan, as a person who's going to be looking at this objectively. Yes, the momentum of this series was shifted, and OKC, you allowed the Indiana Pacers to control this game for the majority of the game, and then you just allow them to take it away from you if you're the Indiana Pacers. That's not good. You gave them all the confidence in the world. But Ronald said OKC in 7. Sadly, we'll see. I think it's going 7 for sure. I don't think it's going 6 for either team. I think it's going 7, and that game 7 is going to just be a toss-up. Core Y, like the Goku. I think that's Goku. I still feel like it's up in the air, but momentum is OKC favor. Maybe the Pacers pull it off. Yeah, that's exactly where I'm feeling. That's exactly what I'm feeling like right now, man. I can't take the stretch over Pacers and Fevers losing games and they're supposed to win. Yeah, man. Yeah, it is tough as a fan. It's tough as a fan. Games you're supposed to win, you got to win those. But once again, it adds to basketball. I think this is good for basketball. These are exciting games. You're extending the series. Obviously, this is what, anybody who's thinking like, an overseer, thinking like a director, they're thinking like this is good for basketball. So I tend to think like that. So I'm thinking this is good for basketball. So yeah, but I as a fan, it does suck. It does suck. Pacers are coming into OKC desperate now. I don't know if they have to go into OKC desperate. I don't think they have to go into OKC desperate. Then again, I mean, both teams are going into OKC desperate because if you're OKC, you're going into OKC. If you lose that game, you're going back to Indiana down 3-2. I mean, it's tied up. So even though it feels shattering as a fan, but you have to think about it objectively because both teams are 2-2 right now. And it's kind of up in the air. Both teams have proven they can win in the other team's home court. I think it's pretty even right now. The Pacers need to win the next game so they can win the series at Indiana. I agree. I do think that needs to happen if you're the Indiana Pacers, but the Pacers have done pretty good on the road so far in the playoffs. So they have proven they can win on the road. But then again, you want to win at home, or you want to be at home for the chance to win. But then again, even at home does not mean you're going to win a game because they were just at home when they lost. So, the whole, statistics, the odds are in the favor of this happening. If, these set of things happen, all of that is just kind of jibber jabber at this point when it comes to the NBA finals because unexpected things just happen. They just happen at this point. So you really don't know who's going to come out with it. Dude, the video titles are screwing me. I have no choice but to watch the game delayed, but now my phone keeps telling me who won before I even realize it. Oh, man. I'm sorry, man. I apologize. About that. I was watching the game pretty delayed too. So, and I put my title up pretty late. I apologize about that. I'm sorry though. JW said people got that short attention span. It wouldn't be a good finals if it was one team sweep. These are the two best teams. I'm totally with you. I'm here for this. People are going to tune into game 5. I want to know what the statistics are going to be looking like as far as people tuning in to game 5. People are going to be tuning in for that because it's 2-2. Both teams have had their moments. This is going to be good. And yes, if you don't have a short attention span and you love good hoops, I think the rest of the series is going to be good for you. I think people are thinking OKC will close that out at home. I feel like ESPN has a bias. Oh yeah, ESPN has a bias. ESPN definitely has a bias. I want to get that thing up. I reposted it on Twitter. Go follow me on Twitter if you haven't already, and you'll see it. Stephen A. Smith was playing solitaire at the NBA Finals. The same man who's been saying Halliburton isn't a superstar, they got a photo of this man playing solitaire during the game in the Finals. And this was not, I was not there, but according to people who were on the floor or who were near him, they said that this was going on during the game. It wasn't during a timeout. It wasn't a stoppage of play. During the game, this man was playing solitaire on his phone. The same man who gets on ESPN after Halliburton says these guys don't watch the games, they don't know what they're talking about. He gets on ESPN. He makes it all about himself. He makes the whole narrative about himself. He's like, I'm not going anywhere. You guys can't get me out of here. I'm not going anywhere. This guy is all about himself. He's all about making himself money. He's all about propping himself up. He's all about putting himself in the finals. They want OKC to close it out. They are definitely biased. They are not covering it as it is. If you're really covering it as it is, you would not say OKC has it in the bag at this point. I think you would say it's really a toss-up because both these teams have proven that they can win when the stakes are high, when everything is going for the other team to win. They have proven that they can win. So it's going to be a tough game. But anybody with a basketball brain at this point would say the momentum is in OKC's favor because you're going home. It's 2-2, and you have a chance to go up 3-2. So obviously it's in OKC's favor. Oh, but what's up, Angela? Tonight was disappointing, but I still have faith. Top loss, yes, for sure. I still have faith too. I still got the Pacers winning this series, probably in 7, but I would not say they cannot do it in 6, but probably in 7. I think the series is going 7, but in a game 7, what team do I trust more with everything on the line? I trust them boys in Indy, man. Them boys in yellow, they always know how to win. Ronald said he likes my optimism. Let's hope the Pacers pull off a miracle for Caitlin's sake. She got me rooting for them. Yes, I tend to be optimistic, man, even to my own demise. So, yes, I like to keep it optimistic. I know everybody's going to crash, all Pacers fans, all Indy guys. So I'm here to give you some optimism. Mathurin missing 3 free throws didn't help. Refs are also calling them phantom fouls favoring OKC. Yes, we talked about the Mathurin free throws a little bit ago, but yeah, you can't miss those free throws because once again, it was a 4-point game, and those 3 free throws could have made it a 1-point game at a certain stretch. So yeah, you can't miss those free throws, and also like the off ball fouls that you're calling, sending SGA to the free throw line at the end of the game, like those are the phantom fouls. So those two things add up. They do add up. Let's see what Brandy had to say. Man, the series is over. It's so hard to win in OKC. If it goes to game 7, the refs are going to help OKC win. Ooh, I don't know about that, man. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. It is hard to win in OKC, but guess what? Indiana did it. And it's hard to win in Indiana, and guess what? OKC did it. These are two teams that know how to win at home. So I'm not going to say that it's hard to win in one place or the other because it really is hard to win in both places. So it kind of evens out. I don't think that's a real factor, just in my opinion, me being optimistic, like Ronald said. Maybe I need to be a little bit more realistic, but that's the optimism talking. Let's see. Stephen A is the clown. Clown pie piper of sports, just like Jim Cramer is that for financial markets. I don't know who Jim is. I don't know who Jim is, but yes, Stephen A is clowny at times. I've grown to respect Stephen A sometimes just for his political takes. He's been breaking out of his shell from that aspect, but as far as basketball goes, he has just an ego, man. This guy is so egotistical, and it seems like he doesn't really care about the sport. He just cares about himself and his own brand, and just trying to scare players. Every single time this guy talks about a player in a negative aspect, it almost seems like he feels like the players are scared of him, or they're supposed to be scared of him. Like when he said, "I'm not going anywhere," as if his takes actually matter. Like, yes, you have a whole lot of pull. Yes, YouTube probably favors you with the algorithm, so people always see what you have to say. Yes, the big, the big channels and the big, pages on Twitter and on Instagram, they're going to post what you have to say. So yes, you have pull in the sense that a lot of people are going to see what you have to say, and obviously it's going to rub off on people. But if you have a basketball brain, Stephen A is just another guy watching the games, and it's already been proven tonight that he's not even paying that much attention. This guy doesn't have a notepad and pen in his hand. This guy's playing solitaire in the NBA Finals. I guarantee you, if I had a shot to be at the NBA Finals, if I had won a ticket, I've never been to a finals game, never been to a game outside of my own hometown. I will soon. I promise that. But if I was at that NBA Finals game, I would have had pen paper. I would have been locked in. There would have been no shot. You would have saw me on solitaire. I'm just saying that guy has an ego. The media have to control the narrative on all major domains. Yes, they do. They really do. If the Pacers win the finals, who do you got winning finals MVP? That's a good question because I saw somebody, it was Skip Bayless, this idiot, said that it was going to Nimhard. Skip Bayless is such an idiot, y'all. I don't know if you guys saw that tweet on Twitter, but please go clown him. Every one of the 40 people in here, go leave a hate comment on the Skip Bayless tweet who said Nimhard was the finals MVP. It's not Nimhard, but I think it's got to go to Hallie if the Pacers win it. Obviously, if OKC wins it, it's got to go to Alex Caruso at this point. He is. I said obviously. And that's definitely not obvious. People are going to bat eyes at that, huh? Let me know what you guys think about that. I think if OKC wins it, it's got to go to Alex Caruso. If the Pacers win it, I think it goes to Hallie. But Caruso has been more of a factor in the series than SGA, in my opinion, even though SGA finally showed up and is really going to just, have to do with the last few games. The last few games are going to matter more than the first few games in the series when it comes to winning finals MVP. OKC is disrespectful to Tyrese Hallie. That's why I want Pacers to win, but OKC's a giant. The Pacers got to keep guarding SGA like that. Yes, the Pacers have shown you they can do it, man. They've shown you they can win, but once again, the Thunder have shown you they can win as well. Like, the Pacers were controlling this game for the majority of it, but you also have to look at it from the flip side. OKC was controlling the first game for the majority of it, and the second game for the majority of it. And they won that game. So, both teams they're looking like giants to me. That's my perspective. Like, Indiana has looked like the better team for half of the series. OKC has looked like the better team for half of the series. And both teams' defenses have been exceptional. So if the Indiana Pacers do what they did more in this game, when it comes to defense, and if Chet is more of a non-factor, and you can have more plays where we're going to Halliburton on the three-point line, and Halliburton missed a lot of threes in this game. I think he's going to make some of those. Then you're not in such a bad position. That's just my opinion. You're not in such a bad position. But once again, you're still, it's 2-2, and you're going back to OKC. You had a chance to totally take the life out of this team by taking home court advantage. But now we're right back at the start. I don't know if you guys listen to any Coldplay, but that's the scientist. We're back at the start, man. That is not really good. We got to do better when it comes to closing this out, because you did everything right, and at the end you just choked. They'll give MVP to who most fits their narrative and who they want to promote. Of course, man. As a Dubs guy, they gave Finals MVP to Andre Iguodala. You know what I mean? Like, it is what it is when it comes to these Finals MVPs these days, man. It's just stats. And they are going to give it to who they want to, but it gets to a point these days where the fans kind of control the narrative at this point. I think most of the basketball world already has Jokic having the MVP this year over SGA. If you're really a true basketball fan, you got to give it to Jokic, in my opinion. So, no matter what their awards say, it's not affecting legacies. We still know who is respectable and who's not. They gave SGA the MVP, but everybody and their mama knows this man is a foul merchant unless you're an OKC fan. So, like, they're going to give it to who fits their narrative, but people like me here over on YouTube, the Kenny Beechams of the world, the people on Twitter, those people actually control the narrative more than the media. And as people like me continue to grow, as the Kenny Beechams continue to be found out, like, they're going to dethrone the narrative, in my opinion. But that's just my little aside. I know Rick is going to have something cooked up. Oh, yeah, for sure. Rick Carlisle is that man. If you're counting the Indiana Pacers out, you're an idiot. I think the only thing that is not in favor of the Indiana Pacers at this point is the fact that people are probably going to have noticed the pattern recognition by now. And so they're not going to be counting the Indiana Pacers out. And that's not good for them, because people aren't going to be counting them out, and people are going to give them a shot. And it seems like this team is best when you're not giving them a shot. So I think the bad part for this team is that people aren't going to be counting them out. But if people do continue to count them out, that's going to be good for this team. Because Rick definitely does have some things cooked up, and those boys want it. Those boys have been more hungry in this series than the OKC Thunder. I think it's been 70-30 when it comes to hunger. I made a tweet. I was like, so far in this game, like, the Indiana Pacers, they want it more. They want it more. And obviously I was wrong. So probably quote tweet that and say I was wrong. But the Indiana Pacers for sure have shown grit. They've shown that they want this, and they're not going to go out without a fight. But let's see. It seems like from the stats, it'll go to Siakam like Jaylen Brown last year. That'll be interesting. That'll be interesting. I see why you brought that up then, because you think it's going to be Siakam. That's a good point. It did go to Jaylen Brown last year, and that is how they have tended to do these things. But Halliburton, he's been more valuable. I don't get how you could not give it to Halliburton when it comes to being valuable. But then again, they don't really care about basketball, do they? They care about narratives. So they're probably going to want to give it to Siakam. And I wouldn't be mad at that if they gave it to Siakam, if the Pacers can even win this series. It looks like right now OKC has the momentum, and if OKC continues on, I got to give it to the one and only Alex Caruso. Y'all hit the thumbs up if you appreciate Coach Carter Breakdown Live. Man, I appreciate you. JW, I appreciate you. I would be using NBA film to actually break down the clips live for you guys, but I would get copyrighted. NBA is not like the WNBA. I can go ahead and use the film for the WNBA. They won't copyright me. NBA is a whole different ball game. Guys like Flight have NBA licenses. I ain't got that yet, so I can't use that. But shout out to you, JW. Game 5 is do or die. Yeah, I know there's a stat. I've been watching a lot of NBA finals in my life, and I know every single NBA finals, they always talk about that game 5. Game 5, there's like a large percentage of teams that when they win game 5, they're going to go ahead and win the series, just playoff-wise, not even final. So game 5 is definitely statistically a do or die. Statistically, yes, it is a do or die. You need to win game 5, because obviously whoever wins game 5, it's like Uno out, or not Uno out, it's Uno. You're calling Uno. You're like, game almost up right here. Like, I just got to win one more game and we win the series. And whoever wins game 5 is closer to the finish line. And, it's not like winning game 3 where it's 1-1, because there's a whole lot of basketball left to play. It's not that much after you win game 5. So, yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah. OKC not losing again at home. I don't know about that. I don't know, man. That's a take though. My might be onto something. OKC is pretty good at home, man, and they got the momentum, and that team's got so much confidence behind SGA. When SGA is cooking, man, it's so hard to beat that team because he has so much confidence. It's because he has so many internet glazers just glazing this guy. How could you not be confident? They treat this guy like he's just like the coolest man on earth. That man is confident, and you got to give it to him as well. Like it's deserved. The amount of aura this guy's got is insane. And I know we got some older people in here. Aura, you might want to look that one up if you know what it means. But he definitely has a lot of aura, guys. SGA is a guy that he just has a lot of confidence, and he's not phased. It's going to be tough to beat OKC at home for sure. That's what you said, Ronald. Yeah, you guys are onto something. I'm just a fan, and I'm trying to keep it optimistic. And the world is like crashing down when you're a fan and you lose a game like this, but you have to put everything into perspective. And I don't think it's over yet. I don't think it's over. They closed the broadcast saying they couldn't call the Pacers underdogs anymore, but just watch. They will continue to say OKC is superior in upcoming games. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, but then again, it's kind of justified, y'all, because OKC won 68 games. They won 68 games. This is, one of the better teams we've seen coming into this series. I didn't think OKC was the better team, but I still had Indiana winning. I think I'm on the record saying I had Indiana winning, so you can go fact check me on that. I'm sure I've said it somewhere. But I had Indiana going all the way from like first series in the playoffs. I had Indiana going all the way this year from last year when they played the New York Knicks and they beat the New York Knicks. This is a team. So I'm not trying to like jump on a bandwagon or anything. But once again, OKC is just the better team when it comes to statistically and just everything that has to do with that. But at this point, you can't really say that the Pacers are underdogs. So I get your comment because, the Pacers, they have shown you that they are here. They have shown you they can beat the best of the best of teams. And through 4 games, they've took 2 away from OKC. OKC fans were saying it was going to be a sweep. But yeah, anyway, let's see. Let Coach Carter get licensing. Yes, I need that for sure. I don't know who I need to talk to as we continue to grow. It's going to get to that point. And that's going to be something to shoot for next year to be able to break down NBA games and or at least, be big enough to where I'll at least be able to get sponsors for those videos so I can make a little bit of money from them because they do take time. I got to be able to get paid. Course that Chet looks pretty hurt. Yes, Chet looks pretty hurt. I that's a good thing to bring up. Chet has been a non-factor, and they said he was on the bench saying, "Let me play. I'm ready, coach. Put me in." They put him in, and he went on to win the game, but he just didn't look too good in this game. And actually, we have the box score up. What did Chet put up in this game? Chet put up a whole 14 points and 15 rebounds. Wow, he did a lot better than I thought he did in this game. Wow, 15 rebounds in this game. That is pretty exceptional for Chet Holmgren, but he was bad. If you watched the game and you didn't just watch the stats, that man was pretty bad in this game, and he was a non-factor. And I feel like the OKC Thunder looked a little bit better when Isaiah Hardenstein was out there. So you got to be better for your Chet, but he could have been hurt, and I think he did get hurt on that foot early on in that game, and he rubbed it off or he walked it off. I mean. And they did say that, he's young and, it's just, a quick thing, a quick turnaround for these guys. The pain's there 1 minute, it's gone the next. But no, y'all, that man looked hurt. He definitely looked hurt. He looked hurt and he looked bad. So he's got to get it together. They will be sure to attack Chet if he is playing like this in the next game. And that's going to be the downfall of the OKC Thunder. I guarantee it. Pacers are going to throw that Uno reverse and OKC prove the doubters wrong. I'm with you. I think they could. I think it's going 7 regardless. I think even if they win that game 5, now it's gonna be very, 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 very tough for OKC to win that game 6 in Indiana if Indiana wins that game 5. But even if OKC wins that game 5, I think Indiana will win that game at home and it'll go 7. I think it's gonna go 7 regardless. But I think they're going to prove the doubters wrong in the sense that they're going to win this series in 7. Yeah. SGA is a baller, but he traveled on one play in the 4th. Yes. He travels a good bit. But a lot of players travel. The problem I have with traveling, because the refs are going to miss things. The problem I have with it is like there's certain things you just make sure you don't miss, which are these TikTok fouls on the Indiana Pacers. And so if you miss a travel every once in a while, whatever, I wouldn't be so mad at it. Is it's like, you never miss that one shoulder on SGA or that one hand on SGA's shoulder. Like you don't miss that, but then you'll miss a travel. That's the problem I have. And I'm technically sounding like I'm justifying the missing calls. I'm not justifying that at all. It's just like everything has to be If you do it on one side, you have to do it on the other. Like that's math class. If you know, you know. You got to do it on both sides of the equation. Like if you're gonna be inconsistent and you're gonna miss calls and you're gonna be lenient, then you have to be lenient across the board. If you're gonna be strict, you have to be strict across the board. That's my thing. Like if you're gonna be incompetent across the board, and then we can actually have games that we can like, go into knowing what to expect. But if you're gonna be incompetent sometimes and you're not gonna be incompetent other times, like come on, you got to do better. Um, What's my way early prediction for the finals next year? Austin, man. Come on, man. Come on. You're throwing a crazy shot at me, my man. I have no idea who I got winning the NBA finals next year. But I think if the Spurs get KD, that's going to be something to deal with. I got to go ahead and say that. I cannot stay for this whole live. I'm old and I'm happy I found your channel. Your videos and NBA brand are top tier. Keep it up. I appreciate you, Sky Six, man. I truly appreciate you. Get you some good sleep if you're intending to do that. Man, peace out to you, man. Appreciate you for being here. Ronald, also the OKC role players play like freaking gods at home. Hopefully it's not another blowout. I don't like blowouts. Well, I wouldn't call them gods, but yes, they really do like to play really well at home. And hopefully it is not another blowout. I think Indiana has kind of proven in these past 2 games that they are here and they're not getting blown out. But, I mean, they did kind of get blown out in that game too. So, I hope not. I really hope not. I hope not. You guys are, well, you guys are realistic. So, I hope not, man. I really hope not. I don't want all to crash out. When you're in the NBA Finals, the adrenaline hits. They don't feel injury. Yeah, they don't. But it does show. I think it showed with Chet. But yeah, when you're young, you get right up. You get right up, man. I remember what was it? Mike Breen when Chet went down and SGA went over to him. He was like, "We need you. Get up." Mike Breen was like, "Man, that first part was generous. The second part was not." And it's SGA was like, "Bro, get up, bro. We don't have time for you to be on the floor." So they need him. You got to play. And it's not just the adrenaline, it's the stakes of the game. You have time to be injured you can be injured for the next season so long as you win the chip this season. We don't have to see you for the entirety of the next year of basketball so long as you win right here, right now. You can run your ankle into the ground as long as you win that championship. That is career defining. That is legacy defining. People will do whatever to win that championship. So, yeah, it's the adrenaline and it's also the stakes of the game. I'm sick of these refs and SGA. You sneeze on him and it's a foul. He sneezed on him. It's crazy. But he's allowed to maul people and no foul. Yes. Yeah, I'm sick of the refs too, man. It's crazy the whistle this man has. It's just absurd. It's truly absurd. It's just absurd. It really is. The man has a whistle that I've not seen any player have. It really takes one play to turn this series. If Indy gets a huge steal in the fourth in game 5 to end the game, can shift things again. Yes, one play. Yes. Basketball is all about momentum. It's all about runs. That is what basketball is. We live in a game of runs. The Warriors have, ever since Steph Curry came around with that 3-point shot and Klay Thompson cemented it, like it's just a game of runs because if I get hot in a 40-second stretch, I can get 9 points. And as long as I play decent defense, which has been going on since the beginning of time, I can prevent you from scoring in a 40-second stretch. And then that's a 9-0 run in 40 seconds. Like, I really want you to grasp that. Like, literally, just think about it. You could go 40 seconds getting a stop easily. And now you have a game of runs. You have a game of, like you say, one steal in the game 4 or in the fourth in game 5 to end the game can shift things. Like, yes, you can have 3 threes. That's a 9-0 run. So, like, it's a game of runs these days. And, Indiana had this game in control even down the stretch in this fourth quarter. It seemed like they were going to win, and it just went to OKC just like that. Did the refs play a part in it? I think so. But then again, OKC still played well. I remember the Suns look unbeatable with the Bucks. Yes. Oh, my gosh. Elite ball knowledge. That wasn't too long ago, so I won't say elite, but that is good ball knowledge. Bucks came back and won the series. Yes. I thought the Suns were going to win that series, and I was going for the Suns, man, kind of like I'm going for Indiana. So, oh, man, let's not go there. Let's leave that there, man. I don't want to get any ideas, man. The refs were absolutely horrible in this game. It's becoming unwatchable. Yes, Tim. Yes, it was pretty bad. It was horrible. It's too many stoppages of play. And Scott Foster has such ego, man. This guy, I just don't like it. Like the commentators, when they were on the board, when they said that, the refs they're just going to listen to what Scott Foster has to say and the way he wants the game to be officiated is how they're going to officiate it. Are you serious? In an NBA Finals game? The fact that we had to say that on air, that one man's whim is the way that these games are going to be officiated. Are you serious? You gotta be better than that. Come on, man. Scott Foster, come on, man. Come on, man. Come on, man. I don't like this guy. He's way too emotional for the whole of a game 4 in the NBA Finals to be on his whim. This guy is going back and forth with CP3, Chris Paul. Come on, man. Come on, man. I don't like that. Speaking of mauling, as a Grizzlies fan, how about the dirtiness of Lou Dort these playoffs? That man is dirty, but that man got a shot. As far as gritty players go, and let me address what you had to say. Yes, he is dirty. That man is a very dirty player. He's dirty, but I do want to give him his props from the 3-point line. Because as far as guys go that are tough, most tough guys are just tough. Like they're just tough. They'll foul you. They'll hack you. But Pat Bev has never been a 3-point shooter. Lou Dort is a 3-point shooter, and he's also tough. Like he's the guy that's gonna foul you. He's gonna be, like you say, he's gonna be very dirty. But the man is shooting the ball like Klay Thompson with it stretches in these NBA finals, and it's like I can't believe it. That man has a shot, and it's butter, man. He's shooting like me out there. Okay, no, maybe not like me. Maybe not like me. Let me just go ahead and end that. Ticky-tack fouls, I agree. Felt some of the calls kept the game closer than what it should have been. Yes. If it wasn't for that stretch of fouls, because once again, I keep going back to it. It was like 86-76, and there was like 4, and that was in favor of Indiana. And there were like 4 whistles back to back to back to back. And then you see it be like a 2-4 point game. If it wasn't for that, you could have saw Indiana continue to stretch out of this league, but they slowed the game down while Indiana had pace. And if I could break down the film and I wouldn't get copyrighted, that is exactly what I'd be doing. That's exactly what I'd be doing. Refs failed to call a charge on Chat in the paint a bit later, and the push off on SGA. Both times the ref instead called fouls to help OKC. Yes, that push off especially. I don't remember the charge on Chat that you're talking about. I had to go back and look at that, but the push off on SGA, I definitely noticed that. They call foul in favor of SGA every single time somebody touches him, but they never call foul whenever he does that push off, because he always does that push off and he always initiates contact. And I never see any fouls like that with SGA. And I did not watch that many OKC Thunder games in the regular season, so I do have to say that. But so far of all the games I've watched in the playoffs, haven't seen really any offensive initiated fouls called on SGA. So you have to do better if you're the refs in that aspect. I think ESPN doesn't want the Pacers to win because of the Knicks. Honestly, I could be wrong though. Yeah. Ooh. Yeah. As far as SGA, I'm sorry, Stephen A. I said SGA. As far as Stephen A. goes, for sure. ESPN as a whole, I don't know, but as far as Stephen A. goes, yes, and he is like the leader of ESPN. So yeah, he's definitely salty because of the Knicks. As far as Stephen A. goes, yes. Brandy said Indiana has to win Game 5 or the series is over. The thing is, the refs will make sure the Thunder win this game if the game is close. I agree with that statement. The only way the Pacers win Game 5 is the Pacers blow them out. I disagree with the first part. I don't think the series is over. Like if they like this, no, I just don't think so. It's easy to look at one game and allow recency bias to take over. Just me personally, I just don't think so. I don't think the series is over if they win that game. But I do think it'll be very difficult for the Indiana Pacers to win. But once again, both teams have proven they can win at home. But if the game is close, yes, the refs will get a part of it. I do think so, because they have just shown that when it comes down to close games, it's the teams that if they win, it will be favorable for the NBA and favorable for their ratings. In close games, that team usually wins. So that made sense. Was it me or was some of these calls called late? Yes, they were. Some of them called late. And it was just way too many of them. Some of the calls were called late, and there was just way too many. Too many whistle calls for an NBA Finals game, man. Just way too many. That push off might single-handedly change the whole series. You are right. Yes. And I forget who brought it up initially, but yes. That could single-handedly change the flow of the entire series. That push off is big time. Yeah, you feel like this was a pivotal game? Yeah, I think so too. I do think so. But going into this game, I kind of expected OKC to win. It's the game OKC had to win. So it was pivotal. And it's more pivotal because of the fact that Indiana controlled the game. If OKC came out and whooped Indiana in this game 4, you'll be going into game 5 thinking like it's more even than it is because OKC was down big time in this game. Indiana controlled it, but OKC was able to come back. It's something about them like getting it at the end that like adds to the momentum shift. It's just something about that that adds to it. Um, Tim said, "What are my thoughts on Tyrese getting pressure and throwing wild passes this game? Way too many turnovers. Had games with 0 turnovers though. Yes, he did have some turnovers in this game, and that is a good point. Thank you for bringing it up. He did have some turnovers in this game. He did not have the best product of a game, but the passing wasn't there, but the scoring was down the stretch. The three-point shot wasn't falling, but he made a lot of layups, and a lot of those big shots were crucial for the Indiana Pacers to get the lead and to keep them in the game down the stretch. But yeah, the turnovers are bad, and I wouldn't just say Hallie because they were sending a lot of defensive pressure, like you said, on him. And off that pass, you weren't able to see the Indiana Pacers do a good job of getting good shots like they have at other times in this series and even at other times in this game. And I think it's just that goes to the OKC defense. There's a lot of times where Tyrese gets a lot of pressure on him. And like you said, in this game, he did throw turnovers, but a lot of the time he'll make the right pass. And from that, they get an easy shot. Down the stretch in this game, they weren't able to do that. So I'm coming at the entirety of the Indiana Pacers. He threw some turnovers. And when they sent a lot of pressure to him, they weren't able to capitalize. Actually, Chet charged and the refs no called. Yeah, I heard about that. I don't remember what play you guys are talking about, but yeah, there was a lot of plays that were sketchy in this game. But guys, I'm about to get out of here in like 3 minutes. Go ahead and give me your concluding thoughts. Was Caitlin there? Yeah, I think that ends the streak. That does end the streak. Stephen A for sure. LOL. Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Pacers gotta be aggressive. Aggressive has to be there both games 3 and 4 to lose that intensity. Let me read that again. It's late. Pacers gotta aggressive. They have to be aggressive. Their aggression has to be there like both games 3 and 4. To lose that intensity, to lose that the shift. Is that what you're trying to say? Yeah, I'm with you. They do have to be aggressive. Like in both games 3 and 4. You're all good, man. You're all good. I got you, man. It's late. We all got crazy fingers. But I'm about to get out of here, y'all. I'm not gonna be able to go live for the Fever game tomorrow, y'all. I'm not gonna be able to go live and be at work tomorrow. But my schedule is getting changed. This will be my last day missing a Fever game, not being able to go live. So after this, I'll be live for every single game for the rest of the season, unless something comes up. So, yeah, that's gonna be great. But yeah, y'all, I'm about to get out of here. Hope you guys enjoy. I certainly did, man. Hopefully the Indiana Pacers can win the game. What is it, game 5? We need them to win. But yeah, last thoughts. Have a good night. You too, man. This is kind of a battle of role players. Yeah, I agree. Yeah, it is a battle of role players, but yeah, that's my concluding thoughts, y'all. Hope you guys enjoyed the stream. I certainly did, man. Y'all take it easy. Peace out.